This is a debate between Destiny and Alex Jones and a number of other people on the right. It's a debate on like Hunter Biden and China and all the other crazy stuff that they talk about. Anyway, so let's give this a listen, see what they have to say, and while we do, we're gonna play some Breath of the Wild too. I'm just kind of running around doing whatever. So if you never played it, shouldn't bother you too much. It'll be in the background. All right, let's listen to this, shall we?
I'm going to do a Q&A with the audience, right? So Trump said that there was a way that you could cure your own COVID by drinking. Okay,
No, nobody said that. Nobody believed that. They said by injecting bleach. That being said, there is a cult out there called the Genesis 2 cult. The Church of... I forget what it's called exactly. Anyways, guy's name is Mark Grennan, I think, and he has this stuff called MMS. It's some kind of a solution that basically turns to bleach when you drink it, and he believes that you should be drinking that to cure literally everything. HIV, cancer, COVID, anything at all. It can all be cured by drinking this stuff that turns to bleach when you drink it. And it turns out Mark Grennan had spent months sending letters to Donald Trump telling him he has a cure for COVID. He has a cure for COVID. No one is listening. I have a cure for COVID. Just drink my MMS, my mineral solution, this stuff that turns to bleach. And just like that, out of nowhere, after this guy spent months talking to Trump about it, he said, we're looking very closely at bleach. Maybe we can inject it, something to that effect. No one ever said that Trump was advocating for people to drink bleach. It was always about injecting.
You just heard that. Like, almost one guy said chlorine, but everybody else said bleach, right?
Well, that's not what happened.
Did Trump actually say that?
No, he said inject it.
No. But the media told you he did. Joe Biden told you.
Nobody told us that. We all sat here watching Fox News as Trump said that on Fox News.
Did he say Mexicans are bad people?
Did he say Mexicans are bad people? Yes, he did. He said that they're bringing crime, they're bringing drugs, and they're rapists. That's what he said about immigrants. And it was heavily implied, if not outright stated.
Utter the word bleach. No. And so...
Did he ever utter the word bleach? What? He's saying he didn't utter the word bleach? Hold on. Let's find out what he actually said.
Supposing we hit the body with a tremendous, whether it's ultraviolet or just very powerful light.
That is absurd in its own right.
And I think you said that hasn't been checked, but you're going to test it. And then I said, supposing you brought the light inside the body, which you can do either through the skin or in some other way.
No, you can't. I don't even know what this dude's talking about.
And I think you said you're going to test that too. Sounds interesting. Right, and then I see the disinfectant, where it knocks it out in 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning? Because you see it gets on the lungs and it does a tremendous number on the lungs. So it'd be interesting to check that. So that you're going to have to use medical doctors with. But it sounds interesting to me.
There you go. That's what. So I guess he said a disinfectant instead of bleach. Quick note before we continue. I'm writing a book about my experiences inside the religion of Jehovah's Witnesses. I cover the culture and doctrine. It's understandable even if you know literally nothing about the religion, so I'd appreciate if you gave it a read. To find out more, go to owenmorgan.com/book. All links are in the description, of course. Okay, back to the video.
New headline is Trump asks people to go outside. That's dangerous. Here we go. Same old group. You ready? I hope people enjoy the sun, and if it has an impact, that's great.
So Donald Trump tried to preempt these stupid statements he made by saying, well, he assumed that the statement that was going to get the most pushback was going to be, Trump trying to encourage people to get sunlight, I guess, or something. Or I guess the UV light or whatever. Well, we've found out beyond a shadow of a doubt that UV light cannot be used to cure coronavirus or whatever. Like, my God, this is insane. He didn't even realize that, saying that injecting bleach was stupid. Look, I get that it was not as bad of a statement as some people would assume, but the problem is that every time Trump says something, people do what he suggests. Even if it's stupid, tens of thousands or even millions of people will listen to Trump, hear what he's telling them to do, and do it. When he talked about hydroxychloroquine and it being a cure for whatever, insisting that it would cure coronavirus, people were going out and drinking their fish tank cleaner because he said that it'll work. When Trump speaks, people die every time. You can be a positive influence on the world or a negative influence on the world. But being an influence to any degree means people are going to believe you without question. People are going to trust that you are telling them the truth about things. You can uplift people or you can break them down. You can turn their day into the best day they've ever had, or you can drive them to suicide when you're in a position of public influence, like me. One rude statement to somebody could potentially end their life if I'm not careful. I choose to uplift people, build people up, try to help them find their way in life and make things better for themselves and make them happier and stuff, rather than putting their lives at risk the way that Trump does constantly.
Just hearing this, not really for the first time. I mean, there's been a rumor that, a very nice rumor that you go outside in the sun or you have heat and it does have an effect on other viruses. But now,
why is he saying this? It's a rumor. Why is he even talking about it if it's just a rumor?
now we get it from one of the great laboratories of the world, I have to say. Covers a lot more territory than just this. This is probably an easy thing, relatively speaking, for you. I would like you to speak to the medical doctors to see if there's any way that you can apply light and heat to cure.
I guess he's just trying to give people hope or make them feel like things are more under control than they were. But the fact that he's saying this in the first place is just insane to me. Why make things up and pretend that things are different than they actually are? The dude has no humility. One of the most important things you can learn as an adult is to say the words, "I don't know." And he never learned that, I guess. Quick interjection. This won't take long. If you like what I do, it would be awesome if you guys checked out my Patreon. All links are in the description, of course. Okay, back to the video.
You know, if you could. And maybe you can, maybe you can't. Again, I say maybe you can, maybe you can't. I'm not a doctor. But I'm like a person that has a good you-know-what.
A person that has a good you-know-what. No, I don't know what. Please, inform me.
You're the president.
Deborah, have you ever heard of that? The heat and the light relative to certain viruses, yes, but relative to this virus?
Not as a treatment. I mean, certainly fever
Yeah.
is a good thing when you have a fever. It helps your body respond.
You're very
Yeah, I think this is around the time when Fauci was being phased out by Trump and Birx was being phased in because Fauci refused to say some of the crazy shit that Trump wanted him to say.
advanced in testing. Other countries are calling us to find out what are we doing. And by the way, within 2 weeks, you'll see numbers and you'll see different forms of testing, just like we came up with the Abbott Laboratories machine, which gives it to you in 5 minutes that everybody wants. Everybody's asking, can we get that?
Yeah, the U.S. is a world leader on things. You know who is not a world leader on innovation, technology, and intelligence? Donald Trump. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Surprisingly, he has experts at his fingertips. He could call in anybody, literally anybody on planet Earth, any expert on any subject on planet Earth, and sit them down in front of him and say, explain this to me like I'm 5 years old, and they would. Anybody. He could understand quantum physics tomorrow as it's explained to him by a quantum physicist, the leading quantum physicist in the world. And what does he choose to do? He doesn't do any of that. He just pretends to know what he's talking about because he has a good you-know-what and, implies that bleach or light could cure people. Where it says maybe it could, maybe it couldn't. You know, tens of thousands of people die because of the things Trump says. It's unacceptable.
You can only make them so fast. But as you know, we've done more testing than every other nation combined. And that's a big statement. I know a lot about economists, and the answer is they have no idea.
I don't know I know a lot about economists. Okay.
I think I have as good an idea as anybody, and I think our economy will start to pick up very substantially as soon as the states get open, and that's happening as we speak, and it's actually very exciting, and people are just thrilled to see it because our country has to get back to work. They want to get back to work. You see that, whether it's a demonstration or just
the way Trump handled COVID, I believe, played a big part in his re-election process. It played a big part in the fact that he was deeply disliked by everybody. He fumbled the COVID response so terribly. In April of 2020, 2 months or a month and a half, 6 weeks after COVID hit, he was telling people to open their doors and start going to work and all that other junk. People weren't even like banned from going outside or going to places. It was just the fear. It was a fear that existed in people of going outside. And this dude is like a fool telling people to stop being afraid of a virus that killed millions.
and talking to people. They're going to get back to work, and they're going to get back to work very fast.
You spoke to Boris Johnson this week. I just wonder how he sounded, how he was.
I did.
Oh, I think he had COVID, Boris Johnson, at the time, maybe.
When do you think he'll be back at work?
He called me a few days ago. I will tell you, he sounded incredible. I was actually surprised. I thought it'd be like, oh, Donald, how are you? He was ready to go. I'm very surprised to tell you this. It's like the old Boris. Tremendous energy, tremendous drive.
Does he know the old Boris? Anyway, the point is Trump is an idiot. He's always been an idiot, and he has always, since day one, said things that get people killed, straight up. The things he says get people killed. Anyways. So the question is, did he say bleach? No, he said disinfectant, I suppose.
But the media told you he did. Joe Biden told you he did.
Did he say Mexicans are bad
people?
people?
Did he ever once utter the word bleach? No. And so...
By saying this, he's very obviously implying that Trump never said anything even approximating bleach could fix anything at all. Like, whether that's what he's outright saying or not, that's what's being implied here.
That happens already. I'm sorry? No, what was your comment?
Oh, yeah, no. Like, he implied that maybe that's an option.
Okay, here comes the cope. Here comes the cope.
No, there's no cope. That's what he said.
Here comes the cope, guys.
And instead of acknowledging that this is actually, in fact, what Donald Trump said, these people are going to pretend that it was never said, never even implied to any degree at all. We have news reports of people dying from drinking fish tank cleaner because Trump endorsed hydroxychloroquine when it was not a solution. We have records and news articles of people taking ivermectin from their horses, from their animals, to cure COVID. And these people simply insist that it never happened, apparently.
That's a good point, though.
He didn't say the word.
He was promoting.
I felt like he said the
promoting
words.
therapeutics, which we know they suppress vitamin C, vitamin D.
He was promoting therapeutics. No, he wasn't. He was trying to make people less concerned, which I get. You know what? The president should quell fears and make people feel like we're in good hands. I'm okay with the idea that he's trying to calm people down and help them, feel like we're being guided through this by somebody competent. But the way that he said that implied that bleach could very likely fix it if you just drank it or took it in through the lungs or whatever.
Ultraviolet
hydroxychloroquine, they called it horse paste.
They didn't call hydroxychloroquine horse paste. They said ivermectin is horse medicine, and they were accurate. People were taking their horse medicine. I mean, it's also human, but they weren't taking human ivermectin because that's harder to obtain. Ivermectin for horses is much easier to access.
You know, all of it was in real studies. The big pharma was suppressing real studies. People have a right to see that.
So I don't mean to.
Big Pharma was suppressing real studies? No, it wasn't. What are you talking about?
The big pharma was suppressing real studies. People have a right to see that.
So I don't mean to get into the whole efficacy of it, but I just mean everyone in this room knew the answer to my question, and it was fake.
Your question was poorly worded. Everybody knew that Trump said that disinfectant was a solution or a possible solution to COVID. Whether or not he said that you should drink bleach is irrelevant.
Fake. Right. The whole thing was fake. Right. And so he didn't imply it. You just think he did because the TV told you to, because you
No, he implied it.
Let the TV do your thinking for you instead of actually listening to what actually happened.
And for some reason, the people who are to the left of hunting the homeless for sport on this panel are not stepping in and saying anything. They're just sitting here in complete silence like Destiny. He's not even on the left, really. I mean, he's kind of on the left, I suppose. He's more left than he is right, I think. But he should be stepping in and saying something right now, right? Why isn't he?
You just believe, just because you believe a lie doesn't make it right.
$100,000. Anybody gives me a video of Trump saying drink bleach. It doesn't exist. It's in your mind. Admit you were lied to.
I mean, he said disinfectant. I thought he said bleach, but either way, I knew he didn't say you're supposed to drink it.
It was a joke.
Somebody yells, "It was a joke." That's ridiculous, dude. Seriously?
He didn't say the word bleach, seriously.
Wait,
it's actually funny.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Right, to your point, that was a very sensational story. It became a punchline on SNL. It became a punchline for Joe Biden throughout the rest of the campaign, and it was just a lie. It was just straight.
It was not a lie. Nobody ever said Trump told us we should drink bleach. I don't know of a single person that ever said that. They said Trump said that bleach could be the cure, or that disinfectant could be the cure. He's just misrepresenting what happened once again.
Straight up a lie. Okay, that's not what I talked about. That has nothing to do with what I just said.
No, but it's an example of Trump straight up lying and being wrong about something. Why don't you want to talk about that one?
Talk about bleach, not hydroxychloroquine.
So, Stephen, you might say that the secrecy with which the government communications with Twitter, that's an issue. So you would like to see more transparency with the communications? What do you want to see?
Prior to Elon taking over Twitter, Twitter published a report at the end of the year showing the takedowns they got from the government, not exactly what they were, and then the percentage that they acquiesced to, essentially. I think that those types of reports are probably okay, but step in the right direction. I don't know if they should.
Everything's fine. There's no censorship.
Actually, Stephen,
transparency or
Alex Jones just dismissing everything that he's saying without considering the arguments. He's just pretending that it's all fake without analyzing it honestly. What is wrong with this guy? Seriously.
Sorry, go ahead. I had a question for you. No, I have a question for you. Just and legitimate question. I got you anything. So we're talking.
You know it's going to be a gotcha.
About the Hunter Biden deal. That was obviously a leak. Sure, right? We can all say that. And you might.
No, it was hacked materials. It's not a leak. There's a difference.
Even go so far as to say, not you, but people might go so far as to say, well, it may be in the public interest to censor this because it was public information or private information, et cetera. So there is a leak that's going on right now in the public that's come out. This gamer, 21-year-old reservist or Air National Guard.
And they tried to claim it wasn't real at first. Now they admit it's real.
I think I know what they're talking about. Let's see if we can get a little more information.
They did claim it was Russian at first, but it turned out that it was real.
I don't know who they is. Who are they talking about when they say they? I know what they're talking about. They're talking about a guy who was on Discord. He's 22 or something, and he had classified information about the war in Ukraine, and he thought that was really cool. So he posted this top secret information, or just classified anyways. Posted this classified information on his Discord, his personal Discord with a number of his friends, and it eventually made it out made its way out to the news. And that guy, it wasn't even like a leak because he thought it should be leaked. It was just him being an idiot and trying to act like he's cool. Now that guy is in serious trouble for spreading, classified information around. I think that's what they're talking about. It wasn't bad information. It wasn't even surprising information. It was just confirmation of war strategies that were being used by various people, I think. There was no, big, terrible thing, oh my God, you ruined everything for us type of deal. It wasn't like a bad thing for, the left or whatever, the way that they seem to be implying here. It was just this kid spread classified information. That simple. That was a leak, I suppose. Not the same as hacked materials.
As far as I know, and if anyone's seen differently, please let me know, please inform me. I haven't seen anyone take down any of those documents on Twitter right now that have been posted. Now, obviously.
Okay, they didn't take down Hunter Biden's stuff either, except for the revenge porn parts. They let people talk about the laptop story to their, to their heart's content.
We're post Elon owning it. We don't know, to your point about government requests, whether or not the FBI has requested to take any of that down. But I'm just interested.
Kirby did request on Thursday that social media take it down, but you're right.
So, okay, Kirby did request.
I feel like that gamer thing is way too old of a story for them to be talking about right now. I'm not even sure that's what they're referring to.
That? But you don't know if he reached out to Elon.
No,
personally.
he just said
Right.
He publicly said we're requesting.
So what are your thoughts? Because, obviously this has done national security damage to the U.S., regardless of what your thoughts are on the Ukraine war or some of the other things that were in there.
Are we talking about the same thing? I think we are, but this is, so old. What the hell are these people even saying? Hold on. Gamer, Ukraine war leak. This is the Washington Post. When U.S. officials are busy resupplying Ukraine's depleted forces in the spring for what was... was it that there were U.S. troops that were on the ground training Ukrainian troops? Not engaging in the war, but training Ukrainian troops? I think that's what they're talking about here. They is always a source, isn't it? Oh, absolutely. KJ Dog Love said that. Yeah, for sure. They is their source for just about everything. Photographs of about 50 highly classified documents detailing secret intelligence on challenges as diverse as the war in Ukraine, Iran's nuclear program, Chinese aircraft carriers, and the killing of Islamic State terrorists started appearing online. We were blindsided and furious, said U.S. official who fielded dozens of media inquiries about the leaks. The official, like others interviewed for this article, spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss the disclosure of classified documents. At the time, neither the Pentagon, the White House, nor the 18 agencies of the U.S. intelligence community had any sense of the scope of classified material exposed. At a news conference in early April. Yeah, I think this is the same thing that we were talking about before. Anyway, it's just not the same situation as hacked materials, Hunter Biden's personal pictures being shown on the floor of Congress or anywhere else. Just not the same.
Obviously, it has done damage to U.S. operations and U.S. Clearly sources and methods, intel operations that are going on right now. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on whether or not that should be taken down or should it be reported, allowed to stay up.
I think there's fundamentally a different question between stuff that's real and stuff that's fake. So, for instance, if we talk about the Trump bleach story or the kitty litter story, I think there is an argument to be made that killing.
Oh, the kitty litter story where they put a litter box in schools for a person who believed that they were a cat. 100% fake. There isn't even a basis in reality for that. That was just spread by conspiracy theorists. It was complete nonsense.
These kinds of stories early, it serves the public interest because the information is fake. Now, there's arguments on both sides to be had of that, but that would be an argument in favor of killing those stories. I think the problem when you get into leaked documents, especially classified leaked documents, is if they're leaked at all, the damage is probably already done. So I don't know how effective it is to.
Yeah, I agree. The damage is done because it's effectively a guarantee that the state actors who would want that information already have it. the moment that it's leaked, or they can access it very easily anyways. So censoring that stuff is kind of pointless.
To kill those stories once those documents have already seen the light.
How do you trust the people that kill the stories? Who picks them? Who are these people?
Well, it would probably be the people that run Twitter's moderation team, Alex.
Well, that'd be a really important group for authoritarians, the people that decide what's real and what's not. How about it is us?
Well, that kind of defeats the whole purpose of censoring highly...
Right? It can't be us as people, because us are the people that, you know, certain things should not be exposed to, like war plans on Ukraine or even Israeli war plans or whatever. Us cannot decide that. Like, it's just a nonsensical thing to have even said.
Classified documents.
We need some magic expert.
But I guess,
Look, lies about me get told all the time.
Well,
They're
I guess
fantastic.
what I would respond-
I love them
But-
because within a few days, people first believe it. Within a few days, people figure it out. It blows up in their face. Every time the human intelligence, when they put out outrageous crap that I've personally been lied about, people wake up and figure it out very quickly.
Alex,
So what if this had happened just on this? So let's say Elon never bought Twitter. This happened. Yoel Roth is still there. His buddy Elvis Chan is still there. And then Elvis Chan comes to him and says, hey, and you remember this story was the initial story Reuters reported at one point. The initial spin was that this was Russian disinformation.
Hold on. Was that the initial spin or was that the initial thought? Because those are two highly different things. Do you think Reuters was trying to spin the story?
No. It was three unnamed officials went to Reuters and said, we believe this has all the, they always use that phrase, all the hallmarks of Russian disinformation. So
The Hunter Biden laptop story, yeah, I believe it was Russian disinformation to this day. I think it is currently.
let's say Yoel Roth hears that and says, oh my gosh, Russian disinformation, here's his buddy Elvis Chan that he's built up all this rapport with, and decides to then go and make the unilateral decision, the same way he did with the Hunter Biden laptop, to censor these documents.
Well, he didn't, to be clear, that wasn't a unilateral decision. If it was, there would have been conversation inside the
Point
Twitter
is, the
file.
laptop's real, Jack.
The 12 people
I really don't think it's real, honestly. I don't.
who...
Yeah, it wasn't a unilateral decision. There was a
the 12
heated conversation
people who
on
make
how
the
to address
decision.
it.
Election meddling.
The question is about, would you be okay if they had going off of that information for him to then go and censor it, even though later on we find out, because obviously there are other platforms, like Telegram was really one of the big ones where this propagated, that it was real.
I think
Okay, the Hunter Biden laptop story, is he saying that was real, that we learned it up? No. I don't know which part we're in now. We're probably in part 2 or 3 at this point, so let me just say it again. I don't think that the Hunter Biden laptop story was real. I think that it's completely fake. It's one of two things, in my opinion. Either the laptop never existed and it's just hacked materials that were obtained forever ago, or even today are slowly being leaked out about him, or somebody hacked those materials from his accounts, put them on a laptop, and then brought that laptop to a repairman that they knew couldn't identify them because he's blind, and preferably one who hates Hunter Biden. In my opinion, that's what happened with the laptop. If the laptop was actually really real and Rudy Giuliani had a copy of it, a clone or whatever, as he claims, then the laptop would have been released into the public like a long time ago. The entire laptop, passwords and all. We would be able to find it on 4chan or something.
it's a really tough question. I think that there is a strong argument to be made that having some kind of coordinated effort with the U.S. government to kill certain stories that might be damaging, especially to national security interests, could be a positive thing.
You're hearing
But
liberals
obviously,
defend intelligence agencies controlling U.S. news.
Oh my God, dude. No one is defending U.S. agencies controlling U.S. news. What the hell is he talking about? My God.
How they've taken the left over. My God, I thought Republicans were bad. Jesus
Obviously,
Christ.
on the flip side, we're going to need some sort of oversight. I don't know whether that's another government committee, whether that's a public statement made by Twitter to make sure that that process isn't being abused, because you don't want them killing stories that are just political.
Which, fascinatingly, what he's saying here, we should have some kind of government oversight or some oversight to protect people, make sure that this system isn't being abused. This is, ironically, exactly what they called for earlier in this conversation. I mean, the Republicans did Alex Jones said we should have some kind of transparency. And even earlier at the beginning of this, they said we shouldn't have that. And they were complaining about Gavin Newsom instituting something like that in California.
So you're telling me that if I go to New York or some state and I tweet out like a racial slur, I can actually get criminal action against me?
No, the way the statute worked is that it required the platforms to keep track of hate speech, whatever that means, didn't really define it, and create lists of people who are producing hateful speech and have that available and disclose it. So essentially it was sort of a forced auto-doxing by these platforms. And that's what the
Nonsense. This did not happen.
Democrats do. And so, you can't sort of say, the Democrats aren't going to hurt the social media companies. They do, and they have.
Governor Gavin Newsom today announced that he signed a first-of-its-kind social media transparency measure to protect Californians from hate and disinformation spread online. AB 587 by Assembly Member Jesse Gabriel will require social media companies to publicly post their policies regarding hate speech, disinformation, harassment, and extremism on their platforms and report data on their enforcement of the policies. Okay, great. I don't see a problem with that. Yes, YouTube was shadow banning people for the longest time because we didn't know what their policies were. Absolutely, I love it. Post it publicly. Tell us what is going on. It's just a bill designed to create more transparency about their hate speech, about their policies. It's not telling them that they must have this instituted or whatever. They must blah, blah, blah. It's saying they must have it listed on their website what their enforcement policies are. Very different. There is no consistency. You know the consistent line that these people have? You know the unifying purpose that these people all have, that they all have in common? Hating Democrats. That's it. Hating Joe Biden. That is the unifying purpose. Propagandizing, lying, twisting, manipulating, whatever it takes to lie about Joe Biden and Democrats.
Politically inconvenient.
But it'll always be abused, though.
Yeah,
it'll always be abused by either side, won't it? And how do you avoid that?
Well, that's
Let him talk. I know you got blue hair, but you only get half the time. Go ahead.
So, since the Patriot Act, the huge, enormous intelligence community has been turned inward, looking at foreign interference in our press. And that is viewed as somehow actionable. And they have used...
Well, it should be actionable, yes, absolutely. If foreign interference is taking place, we should absolutely take action to make sure that the U.S. public is protected from that, basically.
That, of course, as a springboard to monitor a huge amount of lawful speech by Americans. I don't know why we're so afraid.
Wait, they're using it as springboard to monitor speech? There doesn't need to be like a reason to monitor. We can monitor everything. Everything everybody ever says is being monitored by somebody. What do you mean people are being monitored? They're saying it publicly. Of course they're being monitored.
Afraid of foreign propaganda. What's going to happen? If we hear, nothing's going to happen.
What do you mean nothing's going to happen?
They also label American powerful speech as foreign.
You wanted this guy to talk.
And the point is, the best thing the government can do is say, look, we believe X, Y, and Z are actually working at the behest of the Russian government.
All right, I'll tell you what. When that happens, I will be unhappy with it. I'll complain about it, and I'll be right alongside you, standing by your side, saying that, we should do something about this. The moment it happens. That has not happened. It's completely made up.
Whether they're making good arguments. Sometimes propaganda is right. Americans should be able to make the decision. And what happens when you decide, this is a danger to national security, we have to suppress this? It's just an invitation to the whole, gobbledygook.
Now we become China, because China says,
to some extent,
we censor stuff to protect
from a legal
things.
point of view, like some of it is done illegally. Right? You can't misrepresent yourself as a U.S. citizen and then create a corporation in the United States for the purpose of spreading speech to influence elections. That's an illegal thing, right?
Then let's enforce the law. I'm fine with that.
Well, dude, I've been blamed.
Enforce the law? Well, we have been. I don't understand.
In congressional hearings to work with the Russians. I've never been to Russia. Nobody controls a goddamn thing I do, including me.
Nobody claimed that Alex was being forced to say something or even being encouraged to say something. But he is spreading Russian disinformation and propaganda, without a doubt. He doesn't have to be a willing or knowing participant in it. to be a participant.
Me. So the idea that I'm controlled by Russians is a lie, and I'm sick of it.
Oh, give me a break, dude.
Alex, does part of you enjoy the Streisand effect that you receive from being
I love
banned?
the Streisand effect, but I ain't working for no goddamn Russians. I mean, I watch congressional hearings. Jones is a Russian asset that puts out Russian information.
That's true. Yes, absolutely. It's called useful idiot. That's what they called it in the Cold War era anyways. People who unknowingly support Russian goals or USSR goals.
Watch the news and say, I think this is BS. No damn Russians like tapping me on the shoulder going, little devil, like Putin's like there. What do I do, Putin? Oh, say this.
Nobody accused him of that.
Yes, it's ridiculous, man. And that's how what he just said.
Dude, why is Destiny silent on all of this stuff? I don't get it. Why isn't he saying a word right now? Why isn't he rebutting anything? Republican nutcases are just running away with these insane claims with absolutely no pushback whatsoever, even though ostensibly there's supposed to be people on the left up there, or people that are not extremist Republicans at the very least.
Turn the entire intelligence apparatus that they used in the Cold War to take our liberties. Then it was take the Muslims' liberties they used against us, and now we're all terrorists. And everybody knows the intelligence agencies in any country that falls turn inward on their people and claim their people are agents of a foreign power. The Russians can't wipe their asses intelligence-wise.
The Russians are really bad at intelligence? You must be joking. That's ridiculous. Russia prides itself on its intelligence gathering and stuff. As a matter of fact, Roger Stone was charged, convicted, and sentenced of colluding with Russian hacker Guccifer 2.0, I believe, to receive hacked information and presumably do what with it? Give it to Trump, I assume. And then Roger Stone was pardoned by Trump, interestingly enough.
The Russians are having their ass kicked in Ukraine right now. The communist Chinese have got their act together and are basically taking us over. I'm just sick of hearing that the Russians control me. It's a lie, man.
True. Okay. So to follow up on that train of thought, I'm curious. Let's say that the government did publicly say, the government says we think that this is propaganda. Wouldn't people like you be up here arguing then that they're still making then implicit threats against those people or on those platforms, like you said earlier? Like, let's say the government comes in and identifies like 10 or 15 different accounts as being propaganda. Let's say one or two of them get banned because they do break the TOS. Wouldn't we be right back on this panel saying the government was essentially threatening those social media platforms to ban those people?
I mean, possible.
This is an argument that he presented way, way earlier in the conversation. The argument presented by the guy that's about to talk now, ostensibly a lawyer, claims to be a lawyer anyways. He's about to say, earlier he said that the government was implicitly threatening or even explicitly threatening Twitter or any other company. They were being threatened by these people when there is no implied threat. There isn't even a record of an implied threat. There's no evidence that there was any threat of any sort.
But at least we could have a public discussion about it.
Do we block what Kim Jong-un says? We laugh at him. I mean, we're like, oh, North Korea says Kim Jong-un makes the birds sing.
Yeah, but that's because that propaganda hasn't gotten a hold of people in the U.S. Hunter Biden's laptop is propaganda. It's a lie. And all the stuff on it is used in a propagandistic way to freak people out and make them think that Hunter Biden is some big evil genius that's getting his dad to work for him or whatever other nonsense. That's propaganda that has taken root in U.S. society. So it's justified to limit the reach of foreign agents' attempts to influence our elections. Kim Jong-un is not influencing U.S. elections by spreading his propaganda about how great he is. I mean, do I even need to say that? That should be obvious, right?
Oh, North Korea says Kim Jong-un makes the birds sing. Kim.
There's a guy.
I'm going to let you guys take over. I love you. It's been a great panel.
But
I'm just telling you, censorship and America will defeat the globalists. InfoWars.
Okay, that was dumb as dog shit, all of it. Everything that he said was either twisted out of proportion, a lie, or some other, propaganda or whatever. It was all complete nonsense, all of it. And I have to wonder, Does he know what he's doing? Does he know that he's lying to people? Or does he know that he's spreading falsehoods? People seem to think that he does know. I mean, one can only guess. People just clapping their hands raw for this dude. I thought it was kind of interesting. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. I just, like, it drives me nuts when people just blatantly lie and it goes completely unrebutted. So tell me your thoughts.